Good kill, good kill. Okay, good kill.
Welcome back to another video, guys. We are in the J-11 Alpha, obviously flying under PLA Chinese colors today. And we're taking on the Super Hornet in a BVR fight. Unfortunately for me, that means that I'm outclassed in avionics for sure. And my missiles are also kind of outclassed. The A-120 AMRAAM, the A-120 C5 to be exact, the variant of the AMRAAM, is far superior to anything I'm carrying. I'm carrying the R27ER, that's a Fox 1, the R77, which is a Fox 3, and I have one long-range Fox 2 in the form of the R27ET, and then obviously the 4 AA-11 Archers. So naturally, the fact that I'm so outclassed by the Super Hornet here means that I'm going to have to win this through trickery and deception. And I'm going to get into more detail about exactly what I'm doing in the TAC view, so if you're super confused about it, stay tuned for that, and you'll get lots of answers. Okay, that was our Chinese AWACS. And we do have our guy about 80 miles off the nose here. He has his AWACS, I have my AWACS, so we both have data link. And what I'm going to do is, once I get him in a lock, I have him in a TWS here, and I'm going to fire a Fox 1 R27ER. This is my most long-range Fox 1, and I'm going to follow that up with an R77 Fox 3 behind it. And again, I'll get into more detail about why I'm doing this in TAC view. Fox 1, and we'll switch to the Fox 377, Fox 3, and we're going to crank to the left here. So if you're wondering if that Fox 1 is going to continue to track because I fired the R77 behind it, the answer is yes. I've done the test on TAC view. It does work. 12,000 flanking. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and defend. So that Fox 3, the intention there is to, if I do break the lock or I do have to go defensive because of an AMRAAM launch, that Fox 3 will continue to ping him and freak him out. Make him feel like I still have him locked, right?
Maximum speed.
I don't have any missile launch notification, so I'm going to go ahead and re-engage here. And I'm going to hit him with a 77. Go ahead and get some altitude here first, so that when he does fire an AMRAAM, I can drag it into the ground. There's a Fox 3 there, R77. And I still don't have any launch from him. There's the AMRAAM that he fired, so we'll go ahead and defend. Yeah, that's a dangerous AMRAAM. Definitely gonna have to go ahead and defend this. And so now we're gonna recommit. I'm gonna fire that Fox 2 R27 ET, the long-range Fox 2, and I'm gonna couple it with a Fox 3. So if he's not paying attention and he doesn't flare that Fox 2 missile off, he's going to get smoked. Okay, and that's one Fox 3 away. There it goes. And we're going to switch over to our Fox 2 long. There's a Fox 2, that's an R27 ET. And that's now masked behind the RWR notification of the R77. And I'm going to go ahead and defend here. And I'm off cold because that's one Fox 3 and a Fox 2. Those are all fire and forget. Especially Fox 3 at this range. It's close enough it can use its own radar. And he should be... Oh, there we go. Yeah. So, splash, one Super Hornet. A big splash, too. And bet money that the Fox 2 hit him. So you see, just because you're in the aircraft that's inferior in the sense of avionics and missile systems, it's not to say that you can't play some mental chess games with the other guy and, you know, use some trickery and stuff in order to try to force yourself to win. So for anybody who is confused as to what happened last time, I fired the R-77 so that he would get the RWR notification, because that's a radar-guided missile. And then behind it, I sent the Fox 2 long. So, you know, he's busy chaffing because he's scared. He thinks I fired one Fox 3 at him. He doesn't know there's another Fox 2. And, you know, Fox 2s have no RWR notifications, right? So he doesn't know there's a Fox 2 coming. And he's busy defending the radar-guided missile, and the Fox 2 hits him in the ass. So the only real danger there was that it was kind of close to the sun, but the missile seemed to have tracked just fine. So that's nice. And we'll do one more round here and see if we can pull it off again. This time I do expect him to be a little bit more aggressive. And you can see he has me locked up. This is his better avionics at play. He's probably had me in a TWS lock this entire time. He's gone to STT now. And so I need to... Now you can see I have the launch authorization on my HUD. You can see because it says LA. And what I've done is I've overwritten the launch authorization of the missile so I can fire it at whatever range I like. So even if I'm out of range, I may fire this missile just to put the other guy defensive. Depending on his behavior, of course. Here we are just outside of max range. That's a Fox 1. And I'm going to go ahead and crank to the left here. I'm going to get out of the thinner air. Remember, thin air is our friend when we want to shoot a missile. It is our enemy when we want to defend a missile. And as you can see, I'm cranking, and he's cranking in the opposite direction. I'm not sure if he got a TWS missile off. Oh, I just accidentally turned off my radar, so that's nice. That Fox 1 I fired before is now trashed, which means I absolutely need to recommit right now and get another missile off at him. There he is. That's an AMRAAM incoming, but I have to get this off. 77 Fox 3, and we have to now defend. Defend that AMRAAM. But you see, I have to send him a missile to keep him away from me because I screwed up that first missile. I broke the lock on it. Now, if I was a betting man, I would say that he is going to be using some terrain masking, some of the hills off in the distance there. I'll get him locked up. This is a R77 Fox 3 and Fox 2 long. And we'll go ahead and crank off into the other direction. And go down. We can reduce the altitude as much as we can to defend the incoming AMRAAMs, which seem to be gone now. My Fox 2, I fired that right into the sun, so... So that Fox 2's trash. That completely wasted that one. We've got a 77 here. You can see how the sun can be a serious problem. Got a Fox 3 off there. And I want to just keep sending missiles at him. You can see him on data link there. He's cold to me now. And so I'm going to go ahead and press. I'm going to press for my advantage while he's defending that other R77. I'm going to get even closer. He's going to try to hide behind that hill. You see that? I should not be doing this. What I'm doing right now, closing in for the merge, this is extremely dangerous. Fox 3. That's my R77 that just exploded in front of us there. And splash 1 Hornet. And luckily I survived too. He didn't fire anything at me. Oh my god. That was close. That was very close. Hey guys, quick little TAC view review here. We got Too Fast For You on the Super Hornet. Big thank you to him for helping out this video. We got me over here. I'm firing the R27ER. This is a Fox 1 missile. He's firing his A-120C. This is a Fox 3. And basically why I'm doing this, I need to fire something at him to get him to defend. So I fire my R27ER in launch authorization mode, which means that missile is far outside of its max range, right? And therefore I know upon firing that missile that it will never hit him, right? He has to basically fly himself into the missile for the missile to hit him. But I had to send something at him, because if I didn't shoot a missile at him and I allowed him to just press me, he was going to be able to just fire missiles, keep me defensive until he could get close enough to kill me, right? So that was the intention here. So anyway, I defend that missile by cranking it down into thicker air, and we do the left offset. We continue to illuminate our target at gimbal limits, as we've talked about in other TAC views, and that missile is now dead in the water. So knowing that that missile is dead in the water, I got to turn back around. I got to fire another R77, and you can see that AIM-120 is also dead, and we have a AIM-120, so he also recommits and fires another missile. So you can see our commitments and our defending and our recommits are very synced up at this point. I know this AMRAM looks like it came pretty close, but it is not that close. We just go right around it. This R77 will keep him defensive. As you can see, he has recommitted also. And look at this AIM-120. His AIM-120s are even better than my R77s. The only place where the R77 is superior to the AMRAM is in very close range. The R77 is more maneuverable. That's it. In every other way, the AMRAM is better. So, anyway, so here I fire the R77. This is another Fox 3, and I fire the long range Fox 2, right? And we saw this in the last video where this little missile popped the Hornet. Maybe we'll have a look at that section in the rest of this TAC view. I might bring that fight back. But this R77 gets fired so that he's confused by the RWR notification of this missile, and therefore doesn't realize that there is a very juicy Fox 2 long range Fox 2 missile coming at him. However, he does do a good job defending this time, and he goes cold, and he's using terrain masking. He's hiding behind some hills, and so that missile is not going to be able to hit him anyway. Okay, his AMRAM also unable to hit me. As you can see, I am dragging his missile down, and having dragged that missile down, it hits the side of a. You see that missile's it's pulling lead into the ground. You can see. It's trying to intersect here, and you saw my altitude drop here, and so the missile's trying to lead, and it leads into a tree. So this is another reason for you to have altitude, is so you can dump your nose and drag missiles into the ground. So, and then we turn around, we want to recommit here, and what do we fire? An R77 Fox 3. And this is a quick one. I just need him to continue to be defensive. At this point, I've decided I'm going for the merge, which we've talked about in other videos is not smart. You don't want to go for the merge. Theoretically, if I run out of Fox 3s, I want to turn around and I want to go home, right? And he'll go home. And this is how the fight will end, or he'll stay. And the fact that I was unable to deny him the airspace would mean that he won the fight, right? You don't have to die to win, basically. But here I decided, listen, I'm going in for the merge, which is dangerous. But if I'm going to do that, I'm going to keep him defensive with more R77s. And at this point, he's losing situational awareness because he's been defensive for so long. You see him continue to defend. He's starting to lose situational awareness in terms of distance. What is my distance to him? Yeah, he has data link, but so he's not totally unaware of what's going on, but his situational awareness in this situation is not good. That's the R77 that explodes. This is the part that's super dangerous. He comes over that hilltop. I knew where he was, so I was zeroing in on him. I was waiting for him to do this. There's my Fox 3, and he dies because he tries to recommit, and by the time he recommits and gets me on radar and tries to do anything, he gets hit by that R77 because I've had him locked the entire time. Right, look at this R77. Oh, he gets an AIM-120 off as well. Right here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So this is the AIM-120, and it doesn't. So, yeah, that's right. In the video, there was a double explosion. There was an explosion here and an explosion here, and then the Hornet just, you know, exploded into a million pieces. So what happens is the R77 proxy fuses on the AIM-120, or vice versa. Something proxy fused on something, and this Hornet flew through 2 explosions, and so he basically blew himself up with his own AMRAM once this thing was in the picture, the R77. So a very unfortunate death for him. No way the pilot survived that double explosion like that. So Splash 1 Super Hornet. Okay, let's have a quick look at the first fight as well. Okay, so in this first round, there's only this little piece at the end I want to talk about, and it's about confusing him. This is the R77. This one ends up being useless. We'll look at our range here. It's about 8 miles. So I fired the ET. So this is a long range Fox 2. And right behind it, there's the R77. So he's defending here. He's going to hear the Fox 3 radar notification, right, inside his Hornet. And he's going to be like, oh, he fired a Fox 3 at me, right? His R77, he fired that at me. And so he's going to start defending with chaff, right? If he decides to do it at all. I don't see any countermeasures here. So that's when you're inside the MAR, and he is. I fired these at 8 miles, and you see me defending cold. When you are inside the MAR like this, the only way you can survive that missile is to decoy it. So whatever's going on here, he should just be dumping all of the chaff and flare, right? And this is the thing, when you're fighting these Chinese Russian flankers and you get close to them, you should always assume that they have a long range Fox 2 coming at you. And you just need to drop the occasional flare, just you know, randomly drop a couple here and there to confuse that missile. Because he doesn't do that, and he ends up trying to get nose on so he can be some sort of offensive, because he realizes he's being forced defensive. He has absolutely no idea that Fox 2 is coming, and he dies. So, you know, you realize, and the reason we did this is because if he's watching here, he sees the smoke trail, right? So you can't just fire the ET, because if you just fire the ET, he sees the smoke trail, but he doesn't get an RWR notification. He can do the math in his head that that's a Fox 2, right? So you mask it with the R77, with the RWR notification of the R77. So he sees the smoke launch. He needs to then, when he sees the double smoke launch, it's a little bit harder for him. He'll assume it's 2 Fox 3s, or if he's really experienced, he'll know that one is a Fox 2. So you'll see him drop some flares as well. Okay, so this is basically just a mental deception game that I was talking about, the chess game that you can do. Play, you know, keep asking people questions, keep playing with their minds, and you know, maybe you can trick them into losing by not defending a sneaky Fox 2. Okay guys, that's going to be the video for today. Big thank you to Too Fast For You for helping with this video. Thank you to all of you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.